In the elemental plane of air, there is nothing. Outsiders call it the endless blue, for if you enter around the middle of the plane, you will see nothing but the endless blue sky. No ground, no clouds, no dust or sun or moon or stars. Just blue. You will not know if you're falling or if the air is flowing in a current around you. There is no way for you to distinguish up from down. Now, for all of you who think having wings is enough to save you here, let me remark that even if you have wings, you will die of exhaustion before ever seeing anything other than air. If you can fly using magic, the same fate awaits. You will spend all of your power trying to reach someplace without ever knowing if you are moving in a straight line or in circles. This is the danger of entering the elemental plane of air, not a quick death, for even that would be a blessing. No, just endless desperation, dehydration, and starvation. Most portals leading to the plane of air, one of the main four of the inner planes, lead to some place like the one we just mentioned. True to its name, the elemental plane of air is composed mainly, well, of course, of air. But still, there is more to it than that. Throughout the years, the thirst of exploration has led scholars, sages, and conjurers to explore this very plane in hopes to find something more, something hidden behind all that air, something that would allow normal people, or at the very least mages, to survive in this plane. And I'm pleased to announce that efforts have not been in vain. Welcome to Elemental Plane of Air 101. My name is Rakzo Gibran. I will be your professor for the entirety of this Reichlen. During the course, we will learn everything there is to know about this enigmatic plane of existence, its nature, dangers, inhabitants, and much more. But first, we will learn how to survive. In fact, this lecture is dedicated to teaching the basics of navigation in the plane. For even if this is one of the less hostile of the inner planes, death is still a constant here. This class is an excellent choice for the entrepreneur Biomancer who wants to study the remarkable creatures that inhabit the plane. For the Druids that want to better understand the relationship between the elements, and of course, for the Conjurers who want to understand the magical nature of the plane itself. But I have already talked a lot. Now I want to know about you. What drove you to take this class? What are you interested in learning about the elemental plane of air? Is there a particular creature, spell, or component you want to learn about? Please let me know in the comment box below. Even though I have my tutors as a professor, I would like to tailor this class to all of you, to what interests you the most. Anyway, let's begin. Open your textbooks on page 173. We will begin with chapter 1 of the elemental plane of air, physics. No, wait. I assure you this is not your typical physics class. The Ministry takes great care in making its knowledge practical and to the point. I won't bother you with math in this lecture. Alright, then let's continue. Chapter 1. Physics. As soon as you appear in the elemental plane of air, you will begin to fall. However, the direction where you will fall is not predetermined. This is because gravity as we know it in the prime material does not exist in the elemental plane of air. Or rather, we can say that gravity is relative. But it is relative to where you think is the way down. This means that you can literally choose the direction in which you wish to fall. Now, this is not as easy as it sounds. Convincing yourself that some place is down when there's very little, if at all, reference to anchor that perception in your mind is quite difficult. Especially if you've never done it before. Entities with strong willpower or malleable minds, like monks, sorcerers, druids, and creatures with wings, have an easier time convincing themselves. But for the rest of us mortals, identifying the down direction is a skill that will need practice before it can be correctly used. And by the way, this is a skill that has yet to be perfected by us Tritians. The Ministry and the Cryptognostic Society are working together in an attempt to expedite the mastery of this technique. If you're interested in participating, don't hesitate to look for me after this lecture. I can take you to some of the other hermeneutes working on the project. Because it is your perception of the world what determines where down is, you can train your brain to perceive certain things that will help you fall the way you want. One of the most effective ways to do so for beginners is to enter the plane with your eyes closed. Once you feel the currents of wind rushing past you, tilt your head forwards and open your eyes so that you're able to see your feet. Focus only on your lower body and try to ignore the rest of the panorama. Many times this will tell your brain that you're looking downwards because, well, when you're standing looking at your feet, they're usually down in the ground, aren't they? Just be careful where you use this technique because it takes some time to take effect. Therefore, it is better suited when you're entering the middle of the plane or anywhere where there are no large objects in your proximity. Otherwise, you risk colliding with an object before you can properly assign yourself the down direction. If you manage to do this, then congratulations, you are now falling in the correct direction. The next thing is to learn how to change that direction. This is more complicated because your brain already knows which way is down, and changing your perception will require some trickery or strong willpower. If you're an illusionist, you can create a piece of ground in the air where you want the new down direction to be, and then try to orient yourself so your feet are pointing towards that illusion. That will usually do the trick. For a druid or a transmuter, changing shapes and transforming into a bird is the preferred method, as these creatures have a natural malleability when it comes to changing their perceptions. Another useful technique that monks use is to close one's eyes and picture themselves changing direction without actually moving. They will tell you that you have to picture not yourself moving, but the entire plane around you. Whatever that means. I've personally never understood that form of changing directions, but who knows, one of you might, and it might save your life. Then, if any of these techniques are performed correctly, the air currents will immediately change course, indicating you change direction. These are basic navigation skills one has to learn to properly explore the elemental plane of air. There are more advanced techniques, like slowing down once falling to avoid hitting something and learning to fly in the plane without expending energy at all. These other techniques will be discussed in a more advanced class further in your stay here at the Ministry. You'll even go to the plane itself to test your skills there, so be prepared. Now, while we're talking about the movement of objects, there is one more thing that we have to know about, and that's how inanimate objects behave when on the plane. In a nutshell, things get weird. For instance, for really small objects like a grain of sand or a small rock that is smaller than your hand, gravity doesn't seem to work at all. Those objects, be they composed of metal or wood or water, will not move on their own. They will simply stand in the same place, floating, waiting for some air current or another object to move them. These objects still have a mass of their own and exhibit resistance should one push them. They even have friction with the air, so if you push, say, a rock into the air, or you throw it, it will eventually come to a stop. Small objects, then, present a hazard when traveling around the plane, especially those made from hard materials, like rocks. When you are flying or falling at very high speeds, an impact with a rock the size of your fist can literally kill you, even if the rock is not moving at all. That's why having powerful wards or armors while flying on the plane is mandatory. Now, for larger structures, larger here meaning a little over the dimensions of a normal human being, things work somewhat differently. These bodies will still exhibit air friction, which means they tend to become static as a function of time. However, for a yet unknown reason that is bafflingly not under investigation, powerful beings are able to tell or communicate these pieces of debris which direction is down. This command will literally send the thing flying at full speed in a certain direction. The only thing known about this strange ability is that it seems to come from an exercise of pure willpower. The genies of elemental air, were the pioneers of this technique, although that is disputed, because some Hermenoids, the interpreters of the Anthropian library, for anyone who's not familiarized, sustain that it was in fact the Winddukes of Akka, the first to discover the property. But, regardless of who discovered it, however, the fact stands that only some creatures are capable of moving large objects with their thoughts alone. This ability has been exploited extensively, as I said before, by the Jinn, who have appropriated most of the larger Earth structures, known as Earth modes, and used them as flying fortresses able to be relocated on command. Actually, until a couple of years ago, it was believed that only creatures native to the elemental plane of air could control material objects like that. Yet, one of the Cryptognostic Society's directive discovered that this ability can, in fact, be learned. They found, for example, that Gith, especially the Gitsarai, who took some of the smaller Earth modes under their control and transformed them into traveling monasteries, roaming the entire plane as their minds commanded. So that means that other forms can do the same. Now, this idea about snatching a large Earth mode and converting it into a flying fortress has been toyed with by the Ministry of Transliminality and by the city itself, of course. But we're in need of more researchers interested in the topic. Currently, we have been able to muster at most a dozen mages that are willing to undertake a project such as this one. And mind you, this is a project worthy of Atomikronos. Thus, if while hearing this lecture you became interested in researching this possibility, and you're a wizard who will, or already has, specialized in conjuration, transmutation or evocation, or even if you're a feristologist, that is a druid, please feel free to contact me and I'll refer you to the hermits in charge of this project. The possibilities here are endless. Imagine yourselves as the commanders of a flying fortress, belonging nothing less than to the great city of Urbes Tritius, roaming the endless blue. On that note, we'll end today's lecture. I hope this brief introduction was useful enough to decide whether or not this class is suitable for you. In the next one, we will discuss in greater detail the flying fortresses of the Jinn and other powerful factions of the elemental plane of air. Thank you for your time, and see you around the halls.